It's been a very, very long time since I've done a video, but how can I not do a trailer reaction to Joker Folie à Deux Trailer 2? Mick, you don't say it properly, I don't. That's life, right? Does it really matter? No, we're here to talk about the film. We're here to react to this trailer. So welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and a very warm welcome back to my platform. So shall we do this? Shall we react to Joker Folie à Deux Trailer 2? I'm very excited. This is the event of the year for me. A bigger event than Deadpool and Wolverine, which is getting rave reviews, by the way.
2 years ago, the name Arthur Fleck had gone like a hurricane.
The trial of the century. They believe Arthur Fleck to be some kind of martyr. Well, he's not. There's a monster.
When I first saw Joker, when I saw you, for once in my life, I didn't feel so alone anymore.
For once in my life, I have someone who needs me. How about you, Arthur? Do you still think you're a star?
You can do anything you want. You're Joker.
Look around, look at all these people. I'll know without any of you to keep me down. I have the sneaking suspicion that we're not giving the people what they want.
It's okay, baby. Let's give the people what they want. Sing hallelujah, come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment.
Well, what did you make of that little trailer? Trailer 2 of Joker Folie à Deux. There's a bit, if you notice, that Lady Gaga, right, Harley Quinn, is in the lift and the door's closed. Now, I think, if I remember rightly from the first film, that's kind of taking a kind of, I don't know, an Easter egg from the first film when Joker is actually in the lift and the door's shutting. That's interesting. There's another thing I noticed from this trailer and the last trailer when she's going like that. Now that's kind of taking from Zazie Beetz as well in the first film when he was imagining he was in a relationship with her character. Does this mean that basically he's created Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn in his mind? That would be somewhat repetitive, boring, and I wouldn't like to see that happen. It looks like a very good film. As you can see, there's a lot of there's a lot of sing-songs, songs, music, but there's also a lot of dialogue and talking. So I think it's going to be well balanced. So people's worries about it being a musical, total musical, I think are not a thing. But it is amazing how people hate the idea of a musical. And the CBN, considering 1930s Hollywood was bred on the musical. A musical isn't a bad thing. I just think this generation isn't used to it. It's a bit like the Westerns. You know, a bit like the latest Kevin Costner movie. Didn't do too well. It's not what people want to see necessarily, but I think this is something different. I think this is going to be a very interesting movie, and it continues Arthur Fleck's story. Also, you can see the effect that Arthur has had on Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn. So, as we know from Lady Gaga herself, this is going to be her own version of Harley Quinn. It's not going to be anything like the comics or the animation or the Margot Robbie version. This is something that her and Todd Phillips have created together. So that's somewhat very, very exciting as well. But I like the look of it. The choreography is a chef's kiss. That looks really good. Obviously, the music's interesting. But interestingly, this trailer gives jack shit away. We also see a kind of trial, which I'm sure will kind of verve into a somewhat musical at times as well, and there's going to be chaos ensuing there as well. But we still don't really know what this film is trying to do. We know there's some kind of dynamic between Harley and the Joker, but apart from that, you know, we don't really know. We don't really know what the key to this movie is, what they're attempting to do, and how this film will end. Will this be the final movie in the Joker saga? Will it make enough money? We know that James Gunn's running things now. We know that James Gunn really doesn't want these Elseworld movies. I don't think he does anyway, to keep going. He wants to connect his own stuff and maybe do his own Elseworld movies eventually. But, as I've discussed before, Todd Phillips has got the backing of the old Warner Brothers group. There's a lot of people from old Warner Brothers there, from the Hangover kind of era. So he's got a lot of backing. If this film does well, there will be a third. They will continue to kind of develop the Black Label universe as well. There's no question about that. And we've heard that Matt Reeves is calling his Batman saga, and he's been talking about the Penguin as a crime story, the Batman crime story. This is like delving closely into the second film, Matt has said as well. So that's very, very exciting. Looking forward to Penguin. Absolutely looking forward to Joker Folie à Deux. It looks like a masterwork. That's what we can gauge from the trailer. This is what creative freedom is all about. When someone has creative freedom, like Matt Reeves in the first film, and his people with the Penguin, and Joker 2, you get something very unique and very special, instead of the same kind of safe, easy movies we get in the MCU, although the MCU hasn't been doing very well. But I'm being told that Deadpool and Wolverine is a reset, and they're even talking about bringing Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man. I thought, why not talk about that as well, as we're here, and I haven't done a video for a while. So that's interesting. This could be the rebirth of the MCU again. I don't think it will ever hit the heights it did before, but I think this movie, in terms of Deadpool and Wolverine, is going to be very successful. The critics seem to like it. Let's see what happens there. But I think in terms of DC, I think things are looking good right now. I really, really do. I mean, in terms of what Gunn's doing, he's bringing in some really, really good, talented people as well. We're hearing some rumors about, the Paradise Lost, Wonder Woman streaming show as well, and they're looking to bring some really talented people there as well. It's interesting that he's made the decision to go with Paradise Lost. There doesn't seem to be a Wonder Woman anywhere to be seen. There's no news of Gal Gadot is still our Wonder Woman. That's very, very unlikely from what I'm being told. So with Joker, with Creature Commandos later this year, I think it is a very exciting time to be a DC fan again. And I mean, we've got Superman and Lois, we've got a trailer for the fourth and final season. We've got Doomsday, Superman is dead. I'll tell you one thing though. I mean, this looks so good that I kind of feel bad for James Gunn, because he's really going to have to equal something incredibly special. With Andy and his team, the people who launched the early Flash series, These people are not mugs. They've done a great job with Superman and Lois, and my only issue with Superman and Lois is the recast of the young actor who played John. Didn't like how that was done. Didn't like that no one from the production seemed to have any sympathy with him. No one came out publicly about him either. So that is sad. But apart from that, Superman and Lois has been a great version of Superman. It's another great version. It's different. It's unique. And Tyler Hoechlin and Bitsy and Tulloch have been a great partnership as Clark, Superman, and Lois. And the fact that they've got kids and they're living in Smallville is something very, very different. We're going to get a Jimmy Olsen. We're going to get a real deal Superman series as well, which will be interesting. So that's exciting. So, as I was just saying, the future does look bright for DC. We've got a Superman film next year. Peacemaker 2 is coming, but the Superman film is the big deal. It looks like a very, very different movie. The costume's kind of growing on me now. I think it's only fair to wait what they do with it in post. You know, people saying, well, Man of Steel didn't need much doing in post. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I know everyone's got their issues with Gunn and Cavill being fired, but I'm giving it a chance. I'm going to wait. But it is exciting we're getting a Superman film. It is exciting that we're getting a Supergirl film. We should have got one in the DCEU straight after Man of Steel, if I'm being honest, and that's a shame. But that's because the plans kept on changing. We went from Nolan and Goyer to Snyder, from Snyder. Then they went from Johnson, but it was a disaster, wasn't it? For whatever reason, they couldn't make their minds up. The critics hated the Snyderverse. It was harsh, and it's very, very disappointing. But we did get a trailer for the director's cut of Rebel Moon yesterday as well, which was very, very interesting and looks really good. This is going to be Zack Snyder's definitive vision. There's been a lot of controversial opinions on Rebel Moon. This is what I believe about both movies. They're not Snyder's, vision. It's basically edited for television. And when you've got a long movie, 2 long movies, and you're having to edit them for television, it's a problem, and you're not going to get the real movie. I thought the first film was edited down well, and I enjoyed the first movie somewhat. I'm not saying it's the best thing I ever saw, but I enjoyed it. The second movie simply didn't work for me, and I think it's because it was cut down for television, and it simply didn't work as a piece of work. So now I'm a bit confused. Are we getting 2 director's cuts, 1 director's cut? I don't really understand, but next month, Rebel Moon is coming, the director's cut. Look, is it the first one? I ain't got a fucking clue. But he will be judged on this. But I think the problem with Snyder is with these director's cuts things. Just put, the man likes doing things a certain way. Just put the man's original vision out there, or don't work with him. They tried to milk it. I know they tried to milk it with the history of his director's cuts, and they were maybe trying to cause some controversy with the cut downs for TV versions. Maybe that's what they were attempting to do. But yeah, I don't think that since Snyder's stopped working on DC that he's done anything on that level. Man of Steel, love it. BVS, love it. Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut, love it. But I don't care how much of a die-hard Snyder fan you are. None of his work since those films has been as good or as iconic. I think when you look at Snyder, it's got to be 300, it's got to be Watchmen, it's got to be Man of Steel. I'm not even saying them in my favourite order. Just saying to you, Batman vs Superman, the Snyder Cut, they're his definitive movies. Personally, I don't think he's going to do anything better than what he's done in DC. But we will see. I'm excited to see the Rebel Moon director's cut or cuts or whatever they are. We will review them here at Movies TV Mag. I want to apologise for my absence. It's the same reason as it has been. My mental health has been absolutely a mess, and I don't really want to. Sometimes you meet someone in life and sometimes they have a positive influence on you, and sometimes they have a negative influence on you because they're damaged and you're trying to help them and they suck you into their little world. and it fucks you up in the head, right? And that's kind of what's been happening to me. It's been very, very difficult to motivate myself to do these videos. Not because I don't like doing these videos. Not because I don't like talking to you guys. I love movies. That hasn't changed. My passion for the platform hasn't gone down. My passion for film hasn't gone down. But when you meet someone and they kind of, it's very, very difficult. And it's, I'm trying basically to come out the tunnel. And every time I try and come out the tunnel, this person is sucking me back in. Hopefully now, and I said this last time, this is it. And I can move on. So yeah, a very difficult time for me. I don't want you to feel sorry for me or anything. I'm just trying my best to come out on the other side. You probably noticed I'm not on Twitter as much anymore either. So, but yeah, I am very excited for the future of DC. I think that Gunn is putting some interesting foundations in there, and we could have something very exciting to look forward to. Superman has to be a great movie. Superman has to make money. Anyone saying that Superman doesn't have to make money is a fucking idiot. Superman has to make money. Now, I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it is. I don't know. I don't know what he's made. But the kind of location shoots were very interesting. Different versions of Superman. We spoke about Lex Luthor. That's going to be interesting. Nicholas Hoult. I think he's going to be a great Lex Luthor. But then you've got the Lex Luthor in Superman and Lois, who is very fucking different, by the way, but very aggressive as well. So that's something they're going to have to compete with as well. But for me, it is an exciting future. I think in James Gunn, at the very least, they've got someone with a vision. I mean, it's the same with Zack Snyder. Say what you want, whether you like Snyder's vision or not, but he had a vision. Berg and Johns didn't have a vision. Hamada didn't have a vision. Hamada's vision was to deliver cheap movies that you forgot about as soon as you came out of the cinema foyer, right? But Snyder, Goya, and Nolan had a vision for the DCEU. And because of the nervousness of the studio, because of the films not making as much as the studio wanted, because of critical reviews being failures and the controversy from lots of fans as well, it was never going to work, which is a tragedy. But that's the thing. It's like what I say about Doctor Who. I have issues with the Chibnall era because of its pacing and different things, but the difference between the Chibnall era of Doctor Who and RTD2, Chibnall and Whittaker had a vision for what they wanted to do, and RTD2 doesn't have a vision. It's bullshit. There's nothing there. That's why I said a few weeks ago when I did a video, there's no point critiquing that much. I've done it a little bit, but there's no point critiquing RTD2 because it wasn't made to be critiqued. It's part of the war of right-wing audiences and left-wing entertainment. And for the rest of us, that's fucking boring, right? It's not interesting. And I said before, I'm watching fewer and fewer things from the entertainment industry these days because that's what it is. Right-wing audiences, versus left-wing entertainment. Look at The Acolyte. I haven't watched The Acolyte. I'm not going to watch The Acolyte because, again, it's not made for entertainment purposes. You can't critique that. When we see the fandom menace critiquing it and saying it sucks, blah, 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 making fun of it, that's great for them and their platforms, right? And I'm sure they believe it and I'm sure they hate it because from what I've been told and from what I've seen in the clips, it is pretty bad. But you can't critique it. When something's not made for artistic purposes, you can't critique it. That's the thing about it. You can't critique something that wasn't made to be critiqued, that wasn't made from an artistic standpoint. That's the difference with Joker, Penguin, and Batman 2, and Gunn's Superman. These things are made for entertainment purposes. So we still have a refreshing situation in DC that we're not going all culture war. We're actually, making things to entertain and to be critiqued. And that's utterly important in this horrible era of entertainment where most stuff is made for political reasons and to wind up right-wing audiences. And that's very difficult, as I say, for the rest of us. But when you do get Deadpool and Wolverine, when you do get Joker 2, when you get the Batman 2, when you get the Penguin, when you get Superman, you know, when you get the other stuff that James Gunn's going to deliver, then, you know, because the issue isn't diversity and representation. What anyone asks is that the diverse people are treated the same as the white guys. So in other words, the diverse actors have to be talented, not just anything will do. That's number one. And when you're writing for diverse actors and characters, they must get the great work that the white guys got. This is why I said the other week, right? Have the diverse doctors, Ncuti and Jodie, had as good a writing as the white guys had? No. What does that say about Chibnall, and what does that say about Russell T Davies? Do you get me? So there's lots of problems with diversity, and that's why there's controversy around diversity. And there's a lot of other reasons why there's controversy around diversity. But let's make one thing clear. There is some people who don't want a black doctor. That's not me. There's some people who don't want a female doctor. That's not me, right? The doctor can be anything, any humanoid, because of the regeneration process. Now, in terms of James Bond, you shouldn't really have a black or diverse Bond, because in the books he's white and he's always been white, right? But I wouldn't kick the bucket. I wouldn't lose my shit if Idris Elba or somebody else turned up as Bond, as long as they're really, really good. And Elba, even at his age now, would be a great Bond. I don't know what they're thinking of doing with Bond. I think they're nowhere near casting a brand new Bond. I don't even think we're going to get a brand new casting this year. So that's where I'm at about diversity. We started with Joker Folie à Deux, and because I haven't done a video, that's good, isn't it? When you ain't done a video for a while, there's a bit to talk about, and I just wanted to reiterate my thoughts on diversity and representation. Now, we live in a world with people with different shapes and colours and genders and sexuality. We, right, white people, are not the only people that matter. We shouldn't be the only ones that seen. So basically, everyone with the different shapes and sizes, sexualities, genders, as long as they're cast and employed on talent, and because they deserve to be there, like everybody else, there shouldn't be an issue. There shouldn't be controversy about this. It's not a controversial situation. It's like the trans debates. I'm not really that passionate about it because I don't have an issue with trans people. I've said it before, and I mean, again, we're going into a different tunnel. I don't know what it's like to be trapped in my own body and needing to change for what I feel I should always be. They have a right to do that. The complicated thing is with sports, you know, trans women playing in sports, and is that an unfair advantage? Most probably, yeah. Then you've got the bathroom situation, you know. Should a trans woman share a bathroom with a biological woman? These are very important issues, as I've said before, must be discussed calmly. But I certainly don't have any hatred for the trans community. So that's where I'm at with that. I thought I'd get all this out there. I mean, we've discussed this before, but I think it's important. If you don't agree with me, you don't have to. If you're going to get in the comments about this, please be nice. Be nice. Just remember, most trans people are not William Wallace. They don't want to burn the walls down. They just want to live their lives. Allow them to live their lives. I'm sure most of them are willing to be in trans toilets. I'm sure most of them would like to play in the trans games or something like that. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? So, for me, at the end of the day, I don't want to go to war with different people. Everyone has a right to be on this planet. And if they're talented, everyone has a right to go to auditions and direct and write if they've got the talent, right? Everyone should be treated in the same way, no matter what diverse group they come from. And again, that's where I stand. Unfortunately, Hollywood are extremists, and they're not doing diverse people any favours. They're gaslighting diverse people to fight a war that it's not really their place to fight. I don't mind them being representative and inclusive, as long as, you know, the people are treated right and they're as talented as everybody else, and they get a fair crack of the whip in terms of narratives, and the writing is done as strongly as it is for the white guys, right? That's what I'm saying. And in terms of Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor, that certainly hasn't been the case. Because, and this is not on Ncuti, by the way, but Ncuti is a crap doctor. And I watched Ncuti on Sex Education. His personality, right, he's basically playing himself, but it works. It's a bit, you know, I don't know how to compare it to, but they didn't write his doctor to the guy's strengths. They're trying to make him Tennant. They're trying to make him Eccleston. He's trying to have big speeches. He's crying a lot. There's nothing wrong with a doctor crying, but I mean, come on. And they made him a frightened little lamb. And the whole thing, because he's gay, that he's saying honey all the time, is pathetic. It's stereotypical. And you know, what's amazing about this situation is that Russell T Davies is a gay man. And he's stereotyped his gay doctor. And that's interesting to me. But I don't know what they're going to do with Series 2. But yeah, they've messed him up. They didn't play to Ncuti's strengths. If you cast someone, you've got to write to their strengths. RTD wrote to the strengths of Eccleston and Tennant. And then Moffat wrote to the strengths of Matt Smith and Capaldi, and I suppose in a way, Chibnall did write to the strengths of Jodie Whittaker. When you look back at Whittaker's Doctor now, and it's frightening to say this, not so bad compared to what we're getting now. But this is where we are today. But going back to DC in these next 4 minutes so that we can finish off, we have to really be excited for what's happening and really, I think, wait until we see, you know, so instead of saying it's going to be bad or it's going to be great, wait and see. That's my advice to you always. But I'm excited. I can't wait till next year to see the trailer for Superman. That's the big one. That's the big movie. This is a James Gunn Superman film made in his image. So that's going to be very interesting. And I've been waiting to see what kind of Superman he's going to give us. The fact that he's been embracing the families of the creators of Superman. Will Reeves is cameoing as a reporter, a news reporter, presenter, like he's in real life. Will Reeves is the son of Christopher Reeve. These are all really smart moves to get people excited. But I said from the beginning, I don't want to see another Superman 78. I don't want to see another Man of Steel. I don't want to see another Smallville. I want to see James Gunn do something different of his own. And that's what it seems like he's doing. So I think that's very important and very exciting that we're getting something fresh. You want to rehash. I mean, the problem with people's attitudes towards Man of Steel, when it's not Superman 78, it's not this, it's not that. It's supposed to be something new, contemporary, modern, and that's exactly what Man of Steel and BVS and the Snyder Cut were. That's why I appreciate them so much. But it's not just about being contemporary and modern. You can be modern and contemporary, but it can still be shit. I mean, you can look at the kind of relaunch of Quantum Leap. It just didn't work. But when you look at something like Cobra Kai, which is absolutely, utterly original, continuing from the movies, bringing these characters back, creating these situations, absolutely fantastic for all, you know, Karate Kid fans. So that's the difference there. You look at that, and then you look at other things. And so it's all about creativity. We are now kind of in a line in entertainment where some people are still trying to make great entertainment, and some people are still trying to be aggressive about the culture war and right-wing audiences versus, versus left-wing entertainment, and no one wins. When that's the case, when it's right-wing audiences shouting at left-wing entertainment, we all lose. The only way we win in terms of representation and inclusion and, creating social commentary is when it's made to be critiqued and entertaining. And then you can slide your points in as well, your social commentary in there. When that's done, it's absolutely beautiful. Go and watch the original Quantum Leap. The amount of social commentary is absolutely beautiful and fantastic. And I would hope it wouldn't be called woke. I would call it good woke, because there's good woke and bad woke. Modern woke is shit. Old woke is absolutely crap, right? No, am I getting confused? Let me say that again. I haven't done a video for a while, right? So, yeah, old woke is great and new woke is absolutely shit. That's where I am. This has been Movies TV Mad. I admit your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. I will try and make a video more regularly. It is summer, it gets really hot, so it is a bit difficult to do videos. But I will be back sooner, hopefully, than you think. Thanks for watching.